Three wide, four wide. Oh boy.
Rahal down to the bottom. Rahal to the front around. Rahal has won at Texas Motor Speedway.
No Limits, Texas. It's time for the reason that we are here. Please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, the president of Rainguard International, to give the command, Claude Florent.
Drivers, start your engines!
Lined up. 11 rows of two. Kimball in the green and black car on the low line. The two NTT data cars on the outside, getting ready to go.
Green.
Strap in, hold on tight, it's IndyCar in Texas.
Charlie Kimball with a big jump there, gets out to an early lead. Scott Dixon looking high around Alexander Rossi. Not much grip up there early, but he's making it work.
Got some guys 2x2 already, but nobody went to the super high side to make a run around the outside. It was a fast start, so it got spread out a little bit, but Charlie Kimball has assumed the lead with his teammates second and third.
Tony Kanaan going around the 98 of Alexander Rossi. Nice move to the high side as we ride with this great helmet cam. Let's watch this from Graham Rahal.
A lot of pedaling that gas. He was, oh, look at that car way off the line.
Guess who that was, my friend? That was Marco Andretti. High side is no luck tonight. Steak dinner, baby.
So you both were right. He tried it, but it didn't work very well.
Well, the bet was that he was going to be the first to go up there. I didn't say it was going to work or not.
Well, so far, a couple of those Andretti cars are struggling. Rossi dropped back a spot. Hunter Ray has dropped back 5 spots. Marco Andretti struggling as we see Hinchcliffe trying to make the high side work.
I just saw Lotion's car shoot up the track, or Graham Rahal shoot up the track as well. So it's tough to get that high line going. Guys got to start using it to get it to work.
And they thought it would work maybe on a lap or two. You see Michaela Lotion decking in early. Now we're seeing Dixon challenge for the lead on his teammate Charlie Kimball in that black and green car.
If I'm Charlie Kimball, I'm going to want to keep that car on the bottom line and stay out front and not worry about fuel mileage. Watch, we got to move down the inside with Tristan. He gets the door shut.
How about
on
that
him by Tony Kanaan.
How about that for a guy that hasn't seen the series in 2 years? A lot of bravery, a lot of confidence in the car. He's going to lose another spot, maybe 2.
Side by side up front for the lead. Newgarden on the high side. Vautier on the low side, battling for the lead at Texas Motor Speedway, and they stay locked up together at the line.
The high line now, Townsend has grooved in, and it's only going to get better the cooler it gets, and as the sun sets and it gets dark and the lights come on, that is going to be more grip up top, and you're going to see guys go even higher to get 3 wide.
The margin at the line that last time by was 1/1000th of a second. And let's watch on board. Oh, and we've got Alexander Rossi around and into the wall.
A little bit of contact. Scott Dixon, it looks like, down low.
It's the two Ganassi cars, the two NTT data cars. Dixon low, Kanaan high. Back to green at Texas Motor Speedway, so it's Will Power out in front. Tristan Vautier right behind him, then Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, and Simon Pagenaud.
Big stop for the Ganassi team. Moved Scott Dixon from 9th up to 3rd. On that stop, Kanaan making a move on his teammate. And look at Vautier, he's going for it again on fresh tires.
Dixon side by side with Kimball. Tony Kanaan working the high side. But look at Vautier clearly disregarding the request from the team to just ride for a bit. He wants to lead this thing.
Car's low, tire pressures are still coming up. His car's sparking, hitting the ground. So they've obviously started with a little bit less tire pressure than Will Power's cars. You watch this car spark through the corners coming off the corner here, Townsend.
Vautier with a big wiggle in the middle of 3 and 4, riding low as you said there. And here comes Scott Dixon.
Dixon was fast in the test, fast in practice, started second. Now he's going to try to grab the second spot, but Vautier is still not ready to give it up.
Vautier's car is really strong on the high side, still bottoming out a little bit. Tire pressure still coming up, but Scott Dixon has obviously made some changes, Townsend, and his car has come alive again.
Well, I said it at the start of the race, Scott Dixon has an uncanny ability to rely on his raw talent in these new track situations. Sure, we've raced in Texas before, but it's reconfigured and it's all new, and Scott Dixon is learning fast what it takes to win.
Hinchcliffe and Pagenaud side by side as Hinch tries to work his way back on the lead lap.
And if this stays green, we're about to see a big unknown, which is how fast and how aggressive can you get to pit lane under green flag conditions here at Texas. Remember, they will pit entering off 3 on that new apron that's untested. Let's watch a replay here on the backstretch. This is the 19 and trying to go around Tony Kanaan.
Tony Kanaan had eyes in the
was
wall.
it.
Oh, Castor
Oh,
Neves
boy.
in the wall. I wonder what happened here. Oh, he's going to hit the inside wall real hard as well. He's got no steering. Car's on fire.
So Penske was running 1, 2, 3 with Castor Neves in third, and he has gone through a big hit. And here they come, hitting the line, 60 miles per hour. We start again with Katie.
And Kevin, Tony Kanaan expected this to be a follow the leader race, and that is not at all what it has turned out to be. He is pretty happy over the radio, but as the track cools down, his team is just telling him to use the weight jacker in his car. Jan?
Simon Pagenaud is getting his service, and I looked at the right front tire. It only had a few small blisters. Marty?
Will Power already leaving his pit stall with some scuffed Firestone tires. He said he's making adjustments inside the car to kind of keep up with the track, which is changing. 6-7 on the stop for Will Power. He's holds serve on the lead.
All right, getting ready to go back to green again here. 106 down of 248. Texas Motor Speedway. It's been fantastic so far. The high line is open up. Here we go again with Will Power leading Simon Pagenaud, Scott Dixon, and Tony Kanaan.
Having looked at those blisters, Townsend, those were not little blisters. Those tires were tore up as we look at the white car Bodier on the outside.
He's not listening to Dale Coyne or Craig Hampson. He's saying, guys, that's how I got to the front the last time. Let me run high.
I'm wondering if this is a setup issue that we might see later in the race with the Penske cars like we saw at Phoenix a couple years ago.
Look at this guy, Scott Dixon. It's time to go. Working Simon Pagenaud also up high, and I love how much further up the track everybody's able to run now that it's rubbered in.
2 Penskes, 2 Ganassis, and Dale Coyne Racing running in 5th with Tristan Vautier in his first IndyCar race in a year and a half. Almost 2 years, really.
Well, I think they got a bank on a yellow, Townsend, but obviously they must not have a tire blistering problem, otherwise you would never take that gamble.
Why would you do that? That sounds like a massive gamble to me. I mean, we've had no yellows on starts or restarts. They've all come late in the stint. If he pits under green, he's a lap and a half down. The race is done for him.
When he got up front at Indianapolis, he stayed up front, but this is a very different circumstance. Worn tires. He's going to need to pit soon. They've been trying to restart, but Chilton has gone a little bit early. He gets a great jump again here, and we're green again at Texas Motor Speedway. The battle is for second position.
I didn't think he went early. I just don't think Power wants to bother racing with him because he knows his race is with Simon Pagenaud and TK. So
and Chilton's car is about 100 pounds lighter because it doesn't have any fuel in it.
Good point. How long can he stay out? We have had multiple cautions, 2 of them during this last stint. Side by side back in the pack.
Max Chilton's still hanging on. He didn't have a fast enough car to sit out front, but he's comfortably now in second. We just have to watch and see how long those tires last as he starts to make a move on Will Power. Hinchcliffe now coming up around the outside. He was a lap down earlier, the first guy to go 3 wide, and it doesn't work yet.
But Hinchcliffe backed out in the drivers' meeting today. The drivers were warned and reminded as they nearly come together.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, no.
That's the big one. That's the big one.
Big crash.
Oh, boy. Hildebrand, Jones. Hinchcliffe. Alotion. And then many others up front. This and Hunter Ray is about as big as we ever see in IndyCar.
Little oil fire there for Hunter Ray on the headers, and you can see the frustration from, I think that's either Connor Daly or Munoz. The front and rear was knocked off.
All right, here we go. As we see Hinchcliffe come off on the high side here. He comes down on Tony Kanaan here. He's kind of blocking Vautier.
Yeah, but it's his
teammate.
teammate.
Touch right here.
It's his teammate, Alotion, who's giving Hinchcliffe nowhere to go.
Oh, Vautier got contact as well.
Alotion made it 3 wide down the back straightaway, and when Hinchcliffe had to move up, he was pinched. Terrible result for Vautier that was having such a great run. So both Dale Coyne cars, both Schmidt-Peterson cars, both Ed Carpenter cars all go out in that accident.
You watch here. Watch this.
Inside,
so he
one
starts
back,
coming
McHale.
down.
Little run
they
here.
touch
In and
right
out.
here.
In
and
and
he
out.
got into that tank slapper.
In and out.
There's really no time for these guys that are 20, 30 car lengths back. You're in it when you get there. You're going 225 miles an hour. There's no way to even slow down.
That was exactly like the Rossi crash earlier, which is you're the sandwich. Hinchcliffe's in the middle of two cars, nowhere to go. The real estate disappears in front of him or beside him, and he just ping-ponged.
And I just started talking about the drivers were reminded third car in should be the first one out. And we saw, I think it was Hinchcliffe had just done that a moment before.
So we're now down to a field of 11 cars left after starting 22.
Well, last year we had a fantastic finish with just 5 on the lead lap. These 11 are still on the lead lap. Our 5th yellow has produced a red flag condition. Will Power is in front at Texas Motor Speedway. Here we go, winding up again at Texas Motor Speedway. The red flag was just over 30 minutes.
Green.
Back to green, racing at Texas.
Marco now running in effectively second place, but he's a lap down. So what he needs to do is just hang there and wait for the yellow to get his lap back. Do not get sucked up and towards the back of the pack. But now, as we see Simon Pagenaud sweep around the outside, he wants to get back in line with his teammate. Look at all that debris and dust there in turn 4 from the crash.
Now, meanwhile, watch for Tony Kanaan. He has been penalized. He will have to serve it here. It is going to be a stop and hold penalty for Tony Kanaan.
And that'll effectively end the race for Tony Kanaan. He'll go 2 laps down. Doesn't say how long he has to hold for, but he'll lose a lap and a half just on a pit stop while the rest of the field is green.
Well, we don't know how long the hold is going to be. We don't know if it's going to be 20 seconds. We've just heard 20 seconds. So that's basically he's going to lose 2 to 3 laps.
And it's not just for avoidable contact, also for blocking. So a 20-second stop and hold is coming for Kanaan. You see him signal that he's going to pit by dipping below the white line, and he will come in, and his chance to win is effectively over.
Newgarden has finally cleared Scott Dixon. So we got now Penske 1, 2, 3 with 3 to go before the competition yellow.
And there's the that's terrible.
He got the yellow before he got to the line.
The reason that he's in pit lane is because they have had blistering before other cars, and for safety purposes, and I can see that he does have blisters on the right front, not to the same degree that he has before, but for safety concerns, they want to be sure that Joseph Newgarden at 6.5 seconds does not run into problems.
The yellow came out, Jan, before he got to the line, so I think he might have got screwed on this deal.
So right now, this is about how do you practice that final restart that's coming. Save your equipment, be smart, learn what you can.
52 to go, winding up one
Go,
more
go,
time.
go, go,
Dixon,
go, green,
Power,
green, green.
Pagenaud, Sato, green again at Texas Motor Speedway.
Takuma Sato's looking awfully racy there in 4th place, having a look down the inside, but here comes Graham Rahal to the high side.
Graham Rahal finally having a sniff at the front. He's been running, biding his time. He says he's got a pretty good car. He just needs to make better timing passes, time it up better. So he backs off a little bit there, but he's going to get swarmed here by Joe Newgarden, who's now working his way back from that penalty.
But Will Power went back to the front around the outside on Scott Dixon. There's Newgarden making his way back to the front. He's using the high line.
He's been the highest of anybody running. He's got blistering problems, so he's trying to open up that corner and not use the tire as hard, but it hasn't helped.
Will Power has led 137 laps. He's back in front now, and they're side by side for second with Pagenaud in the white and black car, number 1 on the outside.
Hondas were so strong in qualifying. They were 1 through 8. They had the speed, looked like they had Chevy covered, but the Penske guys have found something with their setup and race trim, and they have steadily worked their way to the front.
And PT Will Power did not want to sit in second very long. In fact, they know their teammate Simon Pagenaud trimmed out a little as Dixon wants to lead back, getting a little dicey for that lead, but he did not trim out. He said, we don't need to trim our car out, speaking of Will Power, because we'll be out front. He didn't count on losing the lead on pit road, so he desperately wants to keep on a hold of that lead just because of where they are downforce-wise.
In line with you outside,
really
middle
racy
green.
guys.
These guys are racing like it's the last
Oh!
That's a little bit too high on that line, Joe.
Joseph Newgarden. 3 wide and 3 and 4. I'm not sure you needed to do that then.
Long way to go still. Long way to go. We still got 47 laps to go, so.
He liked it high in the second lane, Paul. He thought he'd love it in the third lane. Wow.
That's really going to be a blow for his championship. He went out at Indy, which was a double points race. Had a good run at Detroit on the second race, but there's been a little bit too many falling out of races now. He's going to be pretty far behind in the points now.
Ready for another restart at Texas Motor Speedway. 208 complete.
Pick it up. Green.
We are going to be 39 to go as Will Power leads them back into turn number 1.
Sato making a move on the outside of Dixon. Graham Rahal over the radio said his car is a rocket off the corner, accelerates like crazy. So look for him. He's now positioned himself with 30 laps to go towards the front of the field.
That third car in line we saw, the blue car, with Scott Dixon as we ride on board with Graham Rahal, who is back in 6th position. The next blue car is Takuma Sato, and up the high side, that's Max Chilton getting a position and going side by side with the Indy 500 winner.
Tony Kanaan back there running in the pack. He's now only a lap down. He was 2 laps down, so another yellow will get him back on the lead lap, and he's at a fast enough car to maybe put himself in position to win the race if he can get his lap back. All of a sudden, Graham Rahal's got some speed in his car. We saw him make an adjustment on that steering wheel, and all of a sudden, he's got some straight line speed.
Now 3 laps away from the competition caution. You're thinking the position gives me a better spot to get into the pits, trying to get out on this final stop coming up. So they're going to race until that yellow.
Look at the gap that these 5 cars have put on the rest of the field. So that really helps show what might happen on the final restart here. That gap opened up to Chavez back there in 6th, Chilton in 7th.
Remember last year's race, what might Simon Pagenaud have learned? He was a little more conservative, but still stayed up there running in that top 4 in this event.
Sato now clear of Dixon. Does Dixon have the straightaway speed to pull back up? Right now he's clear. He pushes Dixon below the white line, but he's clear, and he chops the nose off.
He wasn't very clear, Paul. I mean, Sato holding Dixon very low through turns 1 and 2.
And the Indy 500 winner is coming. Takuma Sato to the outside of Will Power, going for the lead at Texas Motor Speedway.
No attack, no chance. That's Sato's
Will
motto.
Power runs him up the track a little bit. He ran up wide to push him up the track. He's going to make him go the long way.
Keep digging.
As Dixon comes back and closes the gap on Will Power. So Dixon back to 2nd place at the line.
And Dixon forcing his
Yellow
way through.
flag.
And that's the competition caution. And Dixon was ahead for the 2nd position. Power in front. Dixon, Sato, Pagenaud, Rahal, Chavez, Chilton, Andretti, and Daly on the lead lap. Kanaan 1 lap down, should get his lap back. Inside 20 to go. We'll go green again this time with 19 left in the Rainguard Water Sealer 600 at Texas Motor Speedway. Power, Dixon, Sato, Pagenaud, and Chilton back through the gears.
Not sure if Power went early or if Dixon just got caught out, but Power had a great jump there.
Tony Kanaan was coming at the back of the pack at full speed already, so he might hang on to the draft here. He was already up to speed when those guys were going, and you see Tony Kanaan coming up on the tail of the back there.
Momentum winding up as Scott Dixon trying to get to the front on the high side of Will Power.
I think he led that lap at the line. I think he had barely an inch on him, so Will Power holds a tight line.
I think
Dixon pushes up a little bit.
Dixon might feel like if I can get in front of Will Power, he hasn't had much experience running in dirty air. He's led so much in the second half of this race, but now everybody else is caught up. Here comes Pagenaud and Sato.
There are 70 IndyCar wins combined by those 2 running side by side, and now Dixon scoots in front, but Power's not going to give it up, and they're side by side in the 2nd row too.
Remember at the start of the race, we talked about Will Power and Scott Dixon, statistically the best drivers at adapting to a new racetrack like we have here at Texas. No surprise, they're up front duking it out for the win.
Dixon leads that lap. We have 16 laps to go. So now they're 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So we got a side-by-side racing. Will Power protecting the bottom and making Scott Dixon go the long way around.
And that's Max Chilton there on the bottom side of row number 2 in the number 8 car.
This looks like a formation lap.
At 220 miles per hour.
Hey, look at Marco Andretti on the outside going 3 wide.
Oh, didn't work for Newgarden. Marco Andretti has to check up big time.
He had a huge run and he had to go for it to try it. Oh, guy's getting pushed down to the apron. Marco Andretti lost a lot of speed, but he looks like he's got a racy car right now.
And that at the back of the field, that's Chavez and Graham Rahal facing each other again, but the action is tight all over the place. Here's 3 wide going into turn 1. They opt for 2 wide.
You wouldn't think 10 cars could put on a show, but they're doing it here tonight at Texas. Inside 15 to go, and still side by side up front with Scott Dixon just nosing in front. Here comes Takuma Sato again.
The guy who's coming is Tony Kanaan. He's already up to 5th or 6th place now. He was way off the tail of the pack when they went to green, and look at this. He's right in the pack now.
All of a sudden, that higher downforce call looked like a smart decision from Tony Kanaan. Look at that Firestone data, wide open, 4th gear, 5th gear. Gonna look high.
He's got to time. He's got to time it all up. He's got a little bit more downforce, these guys, and he's got to do the over/under and stay wide open.
You know, with this 2x2 racing, this reminds me a little bit of like Daytona or Talladega, the Cup car, that you have a hard time if you're faster finding a spot to go.
That's the problem for Tony. When they run side by side, there's no way to get by, even if you have a faster car. So he's got to get guys to either move up off the bottom and get a run on the bottom, or just go for it and go for the 3 wide.
They keep fanning out a bit, flirting with 3 wide, and then wisely going back to 2 wide for the corner. But I think we're going to see something go crazy here. Max Chilton drops over that big drop off to the apron in the grass, almost loses it. Nice save. Here comes Graham Rahal now. Graham Rahal up to 5th, it looks like, on the high side.
And in all of this, Connor Daly, who has been struggling for pace all weekend, running in 7th and now in 8th position as they continue to go side by side, nearing the final 10 laps as Will Power's wife, Liz, watches on. Her husband going side by side with Scott Dixon out front, and 3rd and 4th also side by side with Pagenaud and Sato.
Graham Rahal sliding way up the track. Now Dixon has a nose on Power again. I thought he might get him there, but no, Power comes fighting back.
Tony Kanaan looks to me like he's got the best car right now with that downforce change, but there's just nowhere for him to go. Oh, these two are touching wheels. Pagenaud and Sato touching wheels on the front straight.
How do you guys do this?
We don't anymore.
I'll tell you what, one guy you're not going to scare to back out is Takuma Sato. He is as fearless as they come. Simon Pagenaud trying to hold him tight. This is crazy.
Well, they're as close as they've ever run tonight. It looks like a formation lap for a sprint car race. These 2 guys are touching wheels again. Sato slides up the track and Kanaan slices down the inside.
That's the move Tony Kanaan needed to challenge for the win. Here comes Graham Rahal looking at Sato, but now I think Tony Kanaan has the space to try to fight for this thing to the end. 8 laps to go, 7 at the line.
So Kanaan's in that 2nd NTT data car. That's him on board right now, battling for 3rd position, but it's 3 wide.
3 wide now.
And he made it. Sato made it.
Sato hangs tough on the outside and shoves out Simon Pagenaud back to 5th place.
Or did he back out like he did last year, decide to live to fight to the finish?
I got a feeling the 2 best cars right now are Sato and Kanaan. They're both looking for a way around these leaders, but you're going to have to do a 3 wide like this.
No attack, no chance. Takuma Sato making it stick 2 laps in a row on the high side, up where nobody's been willing to go before, and he slots into 3rd.
Power stays out in front. That's Dixon right behind him. Sato in the 2nd blue car. Kanaan is the 3rd blue car running in 4th. Sato coming to the bottom side of Scott Dixon, and they turn. Dixon goes around. Sato goes around. Power's in front.
Well, you knew it was going to happen at some point. They were absolutely driving like maniacs.
Scott Dixon is going to be furious, as he should be.
Let's watch again what happens.
Sato drops a wheel in the grass right here and just loses it. It bottoms, he loses the rear, catches Dixon, and they're both around. And poor Connor Daly gets wrapped up in it, and he spins trying to avoid everything.
And I thought Dixon would make it, but that's Max Chilton that augured into the side of his teammate Scott Dixon. There's Connor Daly down low. I'm not sure if Connor had any contact. Sato just didn't know where the track limit was there.
Well, the track limit's the grass.
Well, that's what I'm not sure he realized. I think he was paying such close attention to power, he just didn't have any idea where the verge was.
At this stage of the race, you're so fixated on the nose in front of you. And I've touched the grass there going through the short chute, and guys do it in cup cars, and you're just so fixated on trying to get the run done and get a run down the inside. You just mistimed that corner a little bit. As we see Kanaan, we get a great view right here. Watch the dirt kick up off of his car. It happens that quickly.
White flag here, pal.
Survives all the craziness, like Indianapolis. That little team just keeps improving, and the better they do, the more likely they are to run more races this season. So that's pretty cool.
That will be his best career finish. He finished 9th at Indianapolis, had one other 9th place finish. And that team is hoping, planning, I would think, with no damage. We'll see them in Pocono, and their goal is to be full-time in 2018. Harding Racing, Mike Harding, based out of Indianapolis. Larry Curry said, we had talked before, we had met. I actually had done some work with him, but this all got started after the 500 last year in a suite.
I'm gonna circle another result. Connor Daly will come home 7th. Didn't wreck, if he did, not very hard on contact there, but it's a big deal for Connor to finish this race. After the big crash last year, they struggled so much. He was much racier than I think any of us would have predicted, Paul. So that's another young driver and a team that really needs a solid result, and they got it tonight.
Absolutely, and then another solid night on the oval for Will Power. This is a place where he got his first oval win. As he's coming to the checkers, his wife will be relieved. She was chewing on that plastic bottle. Another great finish for Simon Pagenaud, which is going to help him in the championship as well.
So under caution,
Will Power
buddy.
Great job today. You were the man.
The 31st win of Will Power's IndyCar career, his second at Texas Motor Speedway.
Good job in the pit. Fantastic job. Oh my God, what a race.
Well, Will Power dominant tonight. Led 180 of 248 laps and makes it to victory lane here in Texas. We talked about how it's a hometown win for his wife Liz. And we saw how nervous she was and how relieved she was when they said it would end under caution. It's been a very up and down season for Will Power, trying to get unbuckled from all the stuff inside the race car. And he's going to enjoy this moment, no doubt about it. Will Power, your winner here at Texas. About as much motion as you'll see from Will Power. You said what a night, very accurate assessment, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense was that racing at the end, Will?
It was very intense. I could see Dixon was able to pass me at the start-finish line, so I was starting to think about what I was going to do there for the end, but phenomenal job by the guys in the pits. I'm so stoked, so happy for Verizon. Shows how good that Chevy engine is, man. It was super fast tonight. I'm so stoked to win in my second home, where my wife is from, Texas. All the family is here. Just feels awesome.
Is that the significance winning for Liz and her family? You guys had a family reunion on Thursday.
We were just talking about it, and her cousin said, man, you haven't won for me here yet. And like, he's come year after year, and I really didn't think that it would be this weekend, but oh man, you don't understand how good that feels.
It's been such an up and down year for you guys. Now with this win, you're only 40 points out of the championship lead. Can you believe that, considering how the year started?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just, I'm so stoked for the win. I don't really care about the rest. You know, I just wanted to win here in Texas, and I did it.
Road America's next, so that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, man, we're coming. We're coming.
Join us Sunday, June 25th at 12:30 Eastern as the Verizon IndyCar Series continues on NBCSN. The Kohler Grand Prix from Road America. For more information on the Verizon IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. For Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, Marty Snyder, Jan Beekes, Katie Hargett, and Robin Miller, I'm Kevin Lee. Congratulations to Will Power.
Next up, it's Off the Road America with qualifying coverage on NBC Sports Network Saturday, June 24th at 5 o'clock Eastern, and race coverage Sunday, June 25th at 12:30 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.